Welcome to Joy News Prime. The bulletin is coming to you straight from our studios in Accra. We can also be viewed across Europe via the ABN channel 235. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Coming up in the bulletin, Ghana National Association of Teachers criticizes opposition NPP for politicizing the now infamous chalk controversy. Africa Center for Energy Policy accuses bulk oil distributors and oil marketing companies of dishonesty in recent reduction of petroleum products. Also, Commission on Human Rights trains over 200 nurses on basic human rights. And the Joy FM UMB Fund presents 56,000 cedis worth of items to Kolebu Burn Center to take care of victims of the June 3 disasters. All of these plus business, sports and international news coming up in the next 60 minutes. Let's begin in the classrooms because the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has taken a swipe at the new patriotic party for politicizing what has become known as a chalk controversy. This follows a donation of 2 cartons of chalk by the party to the Kukuruntumi Presbyterian Basic School. Although the Teacher Association condemns the comments by the Vice President's wife, it says the problem is not new. Acting General Secretary of NAT, Mawunyo Damenya, spoke earlier on the polls.
We should prioritize our everything that we do. If we think that education is should be compulsory, and we expect people, the FQ, to work well, then the state will have to provide the resources, those resources. Some other political party has
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, I want to say that they are all the same. Yeah.
Why do you think so?
We had these issues even when they were in power. We've been talking about these tools and the rest. So for me, we shouldn't politicize the thing. The important thing is that we should provide the resources rather than would they be able to provide the chalk to all the primary and middle JHS schools. Would they be able to do that?
Well, the NPP's Eastern Regional Youth Organizer, however, said they never knew about the shortage and disagrees the gesture was a publicity stunt to score political points. Jerry Osei insists the conversation must be about government since it has a duty to provide the materials needed for teaching and learning.
Well, Ms. Rather unfortunate, you sound to be worried about the party trying to help, a situation that is affecting all of us. What we all have to know is that it is only just a couple of days ago. Me, for instance, it's just a couple of days ago that I got to know that actually the government has reneged on its responsibility of providing basic schools with chalk and other teaching and learning material. So it's something that we as a party has not, did not think about until it came out that the whole vice president's wife, made such a funny comments about what happened. But what we all have to know is that we put for political parties and for leaders for them to take responsibility and to provide the basic amenities that we all need in all aspects of life. It's rather unfortunate that in spite of all the money that has come in the hands of this government, in spite of all the projects they claim to have been doing, they cannot provide basic things as chalk.
Political scientist Dr. Ivan Sagretako said government is responsible for the provision of education materials.
Especially public institutions. I lecture in Legon, and so I would not expect the University of Ghana to tell me that I should buy my own, marker, or I should buy my own public address system. And so we are saying that we want to make, basic education progressively free. Therefore, government will have certain obligations, and the obligation will be some textbooks, chalk, basically some of the teaching aids. And if you look at, my son is at Presec, Legon Presec. So PTA, you look at the last week, for instance, we're discussing the possibility of even trying to supplement the schools revenue so they can even provide fuel and power the plant so the student can learn. And some issues came up that we should increase the PTA fees. And my argument was that we cannot, because there's a ceiling beyond which you cannot go. And of course, the GES as a regulatory institution will ensure that you can't even charge any arbitrary fee. And for me, that is also the essence of government, to make sure that people do not take advantage of some loose systems to milk the society dry. So if government has a responsibility, the government has fulfilled it. And so it is the responsibility of all of us to ensure that governments, whether NDC, MPP, CPP, PPP, or whatever, live up to their responsibility. Basic is basic. And so if individuals will even come and support, it's because they want some corporate institutions may decide to provide one facility or the other, but that does not absolve government from responsibility. All that they are doing is to supplement.
Away from the classrooms, let's look at our surroundings, because stakeholders in the environment sector are proposing a partial ban on certain plastic products. President Mahama last weekend said the country may have to ban plastics completely if nothing is done about its management. This has sparked a debate, with some calling for a complete ban. Some, however, say the ban should be on the local Olunka rubber and black polythene bags. But speaking on the polls, the national coordinator of the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers, Daniel Tonyega, said the ban is long overdue.
It's been coming, and you know how politicians will try to massage the situation. It started way back in 2005, it continued in 2010, and we are in 2015. At least as if it's a 5-year kind of a story that reoccurs. However, from the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers point of view, we are looking at it on this point that, one, if the public were not having this outcry of the indiscriminate littering, there wouldn't be any call for it. However, when the issue started, I remember Honorable Alan Shermantin even decided to ban it, until we went to him, stakeholders went to him, especially from our point of view, to explain to him that that is not the way to go. I remember even in 2010.
Now, essentially, if we banned the use of plastic, businesses are going to collapse.
Businesses wouldn't collapse one way or the other. However, we have not suggested the alternative.
Now, efforts by Kolebu's Reconstructive Plastic Surgery and Burn Center in treating victims of the fire and flood disasters has received a boost. The Joy FM Universal Merchant Bank Fund today presented items to aid the facility care for the victims. Hannah Odame has more.
CEO of the bank, John Iwa, said the items worth 56,000 cedis include gloves, plasters, cotton rolls and bandages. Mr. Iwa said apart from those on admission at the hospitals, other survivors may also benefit from the fund.
At UMB, we don't want to forget about them, because we put our customers first, and we believe that there is a tendency in this country to forget things so easily. But we will not forget. We know there are people who are still on treatment, and every now and then we will pass by to see how the progress is going, and to assess what further help we can also provide to the hospital. We know a lot of expenses have been incurred, a lot of time has been lost, but at the end of the day, we are all praying that they get well, they join their families, and we will all start life once again together.
Senior resident doctor at the unit, Dr. Kwesi Insafol, explained the items will greatly improve the treatment and recovery of the patients.
Some patients have to spend about 500 Ghana cedis every 3 days for change of dressing. We had one patient who was spending 960 Ghana cedis every 3 days for change of dressing, just to buy these things. So the things we have brought to go a long way, very, very long way, to keep our patients alive. We lose our patients because their wounds get infected, because they can't afford to change their dressings. And these things we have brought would help us to change their dressings every 3 days, or whenever the dressings get wet, we have to change them. And these things, trust me, would make a big difference. At times, we have to put our monies together, send offering bowls around among the staff to make funny small contributions. These would help us a lot. So we are most grateful.
host of Joy FM Super Morning Show, Kojo Yankson, called on the public to donate to the fund.
We know that there's nothing we can do that would totally solve the problem, but that's even more of the reason why we must do whatever little we can. And today, with this donation, what we're trying to do is be the beginning of a solution. We hope this encourages all of you who have been giving to the UMB Joy FM Flood Victims Fund to continue to do so, because this is the impact that it can have. There are people who are whose lives depend on your kindness, and for those who have already given, we thank you so much. This is what we've been able to do with it.
The Joy FM UMB Fire and Flood Relief Fund was set up by the two institutions to assist victims of the June 3 fire and flood disasters. You can also donate to the fund through mobile money on 054 9781 391. Hannah Odame for Joy News.
No contribution is too little. Let's do more health stories. And over 200 final year students, nurses and Cape Coast have been trained on basic human rights issues, particularly the right to health. The course by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Shraj is intended to deepen the knowledge of the students on fundamental human rights. This is aimed at reducing the complaints of patients about the poor attitude of some nurses towards healthcare delivery.
Started a decade ago, the program has so far trained over 2,500 nurses and 39 tutors across the country. Acting Commissioner of Shraj, Richard Quayson, says several hospitals across the country have registered numerous cases of unprofessional conduct and practices by healthcare professionals which border on human rights violations. The course was thus developed to strategically respond to the human rights challenges in health facilities. In an interview with Joy News, the acting Shraj head said the course, which is currently running in 11 health training institutions in the country, aims at inculcating in student nurses a culture of respect for human rights. Some of the topics covered during the course were introduction to human rights, domestic violence, and the role of the nurse and the Whistleblowers Act, as well as practical examples based on reported cases in the media. Certificates were presented to participants at the graduation.
If you just joined us, this is Joy News Prime. We'll be back in a jiffy. Joy News Prime, now to the rest of our stories. The Deputy Minister for Outbreak in charge of livestock says the bird flu outbreak could worsen if people keep flouting the ban on hawking of birds in the country. Dr. Hannah Bisu insists the biosecurity systems put in place by government must be adhered to strictly if the virus is to be completely dealt with.
About 40 cockerels that were sent to the Cantonment market for sale, had bird flu. Of course, they died, and it was a backyard production. So all the birds that the person had, they all died. As to how it came to the backyard, that we don't know. It's not only the first backyard that we've had issues with. One lady at Achimota, she also saw a backyard thing, but it was about 400 or so birds. They all died. And so the importance of what happened at Cantonment is the ban that we have placed. Because if this trader was moving around with those birds, you know what would have happened? They would have just spread the flu. Because the droppings of the affected birds carries the virus, active virus, and that period an active discharge, they are just spreading it, and so we don't want people moving around with it. And it's unfortunate that usually when things are coming, when you foresee them and you put measures to make sure that these things do not get out of hand, people normally don't want to obey it. But this is a national issue, and we are going to enforce it.
It's interesting that you talk about the ban, because we've heard conflicting reports, some saying that the ban is only in Accra, some are saying nationwide. What exactly is in this ban? Is it a ban on sale of poultry in Accra and movement of it? I mean, explain it to us.
Well, it's not restricted to Accra. It's a national fiat. It's for the whole nation.
A halt in the sale of poultry?
It's not a halt in the sale. I said the hawking.
Okay.
You don't hawk. Okay. Don't carry it around. Normally, when there's an outbreak, it's a standstill command. It's a complete ban on movement of any form of bread.
Meanwhile, Dr. Hannah Bisu says lack of resources is equally making it difficult to bring the bird flu outbreak under control.
We need to educate. We need the radio stations to educate.
But are we doing that as a ministry?
That's what I'm going on. That's why I say we need. We've not done enough because we don't have the resources. Okay, we have to move from market to market to educate people. We have to go to the districts, down to the farmer. If you come to my district, we have a village that I love so much, Ninchi Ninchi. And you need to get down to Ninchi Ninchi because you have birds in Ninchi Ninchi. You have to educate the people of Ninchi Ninchi. How do you get there? How do you fuel your vehicle? What vehicle are you going to use as we speak? And I ask you to go around. You can go to the districts, go to the regions, and look for the veterinary officers and see what they use to work. But they've been working. Our budget that we have is a serious, comprehensive, detailed budget. Okay, it comes with everything. The education inclusive, the number of times, the regions, the districts, the training of personnel to support in the exercise, and of course, the compensation package is also inclusive, the lab reagents, the protective gears for people to go out to the field and kill the birds when we have these outbreaks.
Away from health issues, a Muslim charity group, Zakat and Sadaqah Trust Fund of Ghana, has presented 60 white canes to the Ghana Blind Union. The gesture, which comes ahead of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, is in response to an appeal by the Blind Union.
A white cane is a necessary tool for the visually impaired. It helps them walk without having to rely much on others for directions. An initiative of the Muslim caucus and staff in Parliament, the Zakat and Sadaqat Trust Fund's mission is to support the less privileged in the country.
Approval was made for 100 canes. Unfortunately, during the time of purchase, we were only able to get 60, which we decided to come and donate to them. That is what God wants, that when you are better off, try to help the needy, the less privileged. Zakat and Sadaqat may just put something like small out of what you have earned that somebody out there do not have. What can you do to help the less privileged? God gives us to give to others. So the little that other people are contributing, 2.5% out of their gross salary, is what is coming into a bigger pool, and we are using that to support the less privileged in society.
The Blind Union is grateful for the white canes, but with over 12,000 members nationwide, they would need more than 60 white canes.
Without the white cane, it's very difficult for a blind person to move around. And even you cannot cross the road, a vehicle or a motorbike can knock you down. So we need them to support them to be independent. We are hoping that many people will come and donate to the cause. You have done very well, and we hope people seeing us will come and donate. I know many people have not heard of it, but if you have heard of it and you are looking at us, we need your support.
The Ghana Blind Union wants its members to be mobile and independent. But to achieve this, more white canes are needed.
Now, Promasi Ghana Limited, producers of cowbell milk, has donated items worth 100,000 cedis to 6 deprived schools in the Adan district of the Greater Accra region. The items, which included teaching and learning materials, are expected to improve the quality of education. The company says the gesture is part of a long-term strategic plan to support government provide quality education for all.
The items include 3,000 exercise books, mathematical sets, erasers, ceiling fans, solar lamps, footballs, jerseys, electrical cables, tables, desks, among others. The items are expected to aid 6 deprived schools in the Ada districts of the Greater Accra region in teaching and learning. Sales and Marketing Director of Cowbell, Timo Van Vuren, tells Joy News Promasido Ghana Limited has been assisting the Ada community for several years.
We are supporting the local community. We as Promasido, the producer of Cowbell, we have a long-term sustainable project where we want to support the local community, mainly by supporting the youth here, supporting the schools and community things. That's why you see why we have bought all these items, and it was in collaboration with the community. It was not us deciding, no, it was on the demand of the local community that we provided items to support them for the future. It's a long-term project. We believe in long-term sustainable projects, so it's already for 16 years now that we are supporting. Step by step the ID grew, and now it's a routine, so every year we come back. That's when you can... Ada is a little bit at the borders of Accra. It's a bit the left community who is suffering because of the islands. They don't have much economic power locally. There are no companies embedded here, so for them it's very difficult to become economically independent, or they depend a little bit on support.
Chief and people of Ada showed appreciation to Cowbell.
Some students of Accra Polytechnic are asking authorities to provide them with constant power supply as they prepare for their exams. The students, mostly part-time students of the institution, say they have not had lectures for the past 14 days as a result of frequent power outages in the school. They are accusing authorities of bias and want them to provide a permanent solution to the situation. Some of them spoke to Joy News after picketing at the school's premises a few minutes ago.
With this power crisis in the country for some time now, the school has not been fair to us. We believe that this is an institution and they are supposed to provide us with light when there is no light. But currently it seems that we, the part-timers, are not being regarded as students of this school. Anytime the full-timers are on vacation, then we are being left out.
Yes, we don't have enough power, and I'm talking on behalf of the LCLT. Okay, we are doing very technical subjects, and it is a lot of sitting down and learning, a lot of practicals. As you can see now, the whole place is in total darkness. We came on campus and there was no light to do our practicals, and we were told authorities are in sitting, trying to find solutions to the problem. But up till now, we just don't know what to do. That is why we are all stranded around. You can see for yourself.
I don't know, for a couple of days now, the lights have been off throughout the evenings. And since last week, we don't have lights to learn. We come to school, there are no lights. Sometimes you can see generators powering just few blocks. So those blocks that are not fortunate, we don't get any lectures throughout such periods.
The authorities of the school, they are actually not handling the part-timers well with this light issue. Number one, the lights was coming on when the full-timers finished their exams. The day they finish their exams, that moment they put the power off. And from that time, the power doesn't come. It means they don't respect the part-timers. I have one class, civil engineering, the whole of last week. I said all the school fees they've paid, the whole of last week, they had only one lecture.
Take a walk through a shaman and you will not have a hard time appreciating why cholera continues to plague that community and the country at large. Some residents who live around Niitete, Amui, popularly known as Tulaku, have abandoned public toilets built by the government to defecate in the open. Matilda Homagan visited the community and has come through with this report.
Ashaiman is densely populated with limited social amenities. But the absence of these facilities does not seem to bother many of the residents, as environmental cleanliness is not a priority for them. At Niitete Amui, a suburb of Ashaiman, famously known as Tulaku, residents dump their waste into gutters in the middle of the night. Domestic animals feeding on leftover food in the area is a common sight. The gutters here have become the new site for disposing human excreta at the expense of the public toilet facility. Residents now prefer to openly defecate near the toll booths along the Accra-Tema motorway.
If you look back, you see that we have a cattle ranch there, and then the place is bushy, and then we have open defecation within the area. It's very bad. And this current system that we are having in this community, people will be defecating around the whole area. We are having toilet facility in the area, more than 8 toilet facilities, commercial and government ones. But people leave these things all and then go down there and then defecate themselves. It's very bad. And beyond that too, people do dump dead animals at the back there, the gutter, and which is giving us a scent that we can bear.
There are 2 public toilets serving this area, and with as little as 20 pesos, one can get access to it. Abigail Mensah manages the 24-hour facility.
No problem. I want say, Anka me feel say public toilets there. Essential one, Samina one. Tisetaru insu enkam. Nipa ni fi toilet ni ba.
We do not charge kids here. They access the place free of charge. Our problem here is the lack of water and detergents to keep the place clean.
When
people do not like coming here because of the stench. We need the assembly to provide water, soap, disinfectants to keep the place clean and running.
Fort or toilet no bebre kamishwesa musiesie sumaya market na betimi aba.
But Assembly member for the area, Yakubu Amadu, says the residents have no excuse to defecate in the open.
And we have always got that challenge, and we've always gone to Assembly for them to help us expedite action on those people who do that. It has become part of them because there is no excuse. Since I became Assembly member, there was only one public toilet in the area, and as I assume office as an Assembly member, I facilitated the issue, and Assembly was able to put up a decent toilet which is taking care of the people. And in addition to that, there have been private toilets that have been put up to take care of the people.
Until the Ashaiman Municipal Assembly steps in to rectify the situation, residents of Ni Teteamui West and East will continue to live, eat and sleep in filth, a development which sets the tone for a cholera outbreak. Matilda Pamaga, for Joy News, Ashaiman.
Members of the Film Federation Association of Ghana are protesting their absence in the new film bill. According to the association, it was sidelined in the new policy document, a move it says will not inure to the benefit of the country's movie industry.
The point is they should call on us for our professional and technical input for the film bill, because we are the actual stakeholders in this country. It is we who have been investing in this film industry for the past 25 to 30 years. Before and after Ghana Film Industry Corporation, GFIC, was sold out. Before they sold it out to the Malaysian company, which has converted it to TV3 today, we were investing into this film industry.
Also threatening to stage a demonstration next week if nothing is done to rectify the situation.
We also want to take this opportunity to announce to the public and all the players in the film industry in Ghana and outside Ghana, and all our audiences and fans, that on next week, Wednesday, 22nd July 2015, we are going on a peaceful march to demonstrate our concerns and interest in the contents of the film bill, and also to send our official petition to the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, and also to the Honorable Speaker of Parliament. The venue, we are all converging at the Obra Sports at Kwame Nkrumah Circle at 10 o'clock in the morning, and peacefully march from the Obra Sport to the House Park or to the Art Center over here. The Greater Accra Regional Commander of Police is going to help us with the roadmap or the route by which we will march peacefully to this place. And when we get here, we will converge at the House Park to finish the march and make our speeches and petitions known, and submit our petitions to our sector minister and the Honorable Speaker of Parliament.
Joy News Prime is coming to you straight from our studios in Accra. We'll be back with the business segment.
End of a working week, but definitely not the end for businesses. My name is Abigail Adumakwenchi here to update you on business. We'll start with Pomasido, and Pomasido Ghana Limited, like many other manufacturing companies, is feeling the pinch of the energy crisis. Sales and Marketing Director of Cowbell, Time Van Voren, tells Joy Business about 30% of the company's production cost is consumed by fuel.
We're like any other company suffering from it. It's very hard. The economic situation in whole of Ghana is a problem. Every day we hope it will come to an end. But we're suffering also. Yes, we need to invest. We need to invest a lot of money in our generators to keep the factory running and supplying our distributors with the products and the people with the products they want. Substantial amount where we are suffering from. Yeah, the CD depreciation is a huge problem. Luckily, last week we had again an appreciation beneath it. We have a lot of our resources, our raw materials are imported, so they're placed in dollars. But luckily for the whole year we maintained that we wanted to keep our prices low so our products stay affordable for the people.
Now to something on the Ramadan, and Muslims typically sew new clothes to mark the end of the month-long fasting Ramadan. That without a doubt puts pressure on designers who have to meet deadlines in their bid to cash in on the festive season. But the current power situation, according to some tailors, has made the pressure even worse. Latif Idris has been interacting with some of them.
After 29 days of fasting, Muslims across the world commemorate the Eid prayers. On this day, they make grand statements with their fashion. At Nima, a predominantly Muslim community, residents are eagerly looking forward to the Eid when they can step out in style. But tailors in the community are having a hard time meeting the demands of their clients due to the erratic power situation.
Nobody who is a tailor this time will say Alhamdulillah because we have constant power to work. No, we don't have it. We don't have power at all.
With the doom, so how have you adjusted?
Okay, yeah, frankly speaking, we have to stay at night when the light is at night. Most of the time the light comes at night. So we have to hang around. When it's 6 o'clock at night, the light comes on. We work till the next morning and the light goes off. So this is how we are able to manage half and halfway so that we can settle our customers halfway.
You sure you can finish with all of the designs before tomorrow?
I'm not going to lie to you. I can't finish them. I have the light for only today. Yesterday I did not have light for only today. So as of now, if I'm giving myself time, if it's around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, I have to run away. Because if they come and meet me, myself as the manager here, I don't know what will happen to me. So I'm just giving myself time. The time you people came, you see that I wasn't inside. I'm hiding at the back there, doing some other jobs. So if somebody come and I have to ask who came, and if the other person had not been able to finish his thing, I'll tell them that, hey, tell them that we are still working on the things, but I'm not around. It's not fine. It's not.
You're now lying to your customers.
Can you imagine that? Which is not good in business. Why is it happening that way? Just because of the light off.
But beauticians, on the other hand, seem to be having a field day ahead of the Eid.
I am a beautician and I do tattoos for women. A complete package of tattoos and fixing of eyelash costs 20 Ghana cedi.
I sympathize with businesses, but we do hope that the energy crisis will come to an end soon. Now, government has defended its decision to make the Customs, Excise and Preventive Service (CEPS) to implement single window scheme at the ports from September 1. The scheme would see CEPS take over the classification and valuation role of the destination inspection companies whose contract ends on August 31, according to the advisor or the financial advisor to the Finance Minister Edward Labisian. CEPS is to implement the scheme to cut costs for government. He spoke to Joy Business.
Normally, most countries, you accept the invoice of the declarant. Okay? It's because there's a history of people undervaluing. That's why we have this superimposing valuation. But most countries, you trust the importer. His declared value is what you use. The laws in customs will adhere to the fact that if customs, when they use their valuation base, knows that you have cheated, they have a right to buy your product off you and pay you only 10%. So that if the thing should be $100 per ton, and you are declaring 50, you want to cheat, customer will accept your invoice and pay you on 50. Many countries don't have this valuation superimposed. Check your fact, you know. And many countries, when they do away with DICs, they go straight, custom empowered.
Dr. Edward Labisian is the tax advisor to the finance minister, and he was speaking to Joy Business at a high-level conference held today for private and public stakeholders in the import and export sector. Well, the conference was primarily to increase the knowledge of stakeholders on issues related to SEPs. So, that'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adumakwentri.
To some sports now, and it's really all about the Ghana Football Association's elections that will be going on ahead as planned, as the country's football governing body claims it has not received any documents directing them to halt proceedings. And Accra-based lawyer John Kwesi told Joy Sports he had secured an injunction to stop the election. Lawyer Kwesi is challenging the election format, which according to him must start from the district level before the regions, even before the presidential polls, contrary to what the Ghana FA has planned. Member of the FA legal team, Prosper Harrison Ado, tells Joy Sports there's no evidence of lawyer Kwesi's claims.
I speak to you now. No injunction has been served on the GFA. What I know was that on the 15th, a writ and a statement of claim was served on the receptionist at the FA. The parties to the suit, we had to preemptive, and then the defendant in that suit was the president of the FA, but the suit was served with the receptionist. Since then, nothing has come to the FA, and so we await the injunction, and then I'm sure the FA has competent people to deal with matters like that. But as I speak to you this morning, Friday morning, the GFA has not been served with any injunction yet.
Meanwhile, Kwesi Nyantakyi looks to be cruising to his third term in office unopposed as the president of Ghana Football Association after he emerged as the only person to have filed his papers to contest next month's elections. The GFA confirmed that out of the 4 candidates who picked their forms to contest the presidential position, Mr. Nyantakyi is the only one to have filed and returned his form by today's 5 p.m. deadline. This means Nyantakyi remains the only candidate for the election, which will be held in Tamale next month. And according to the GFA statutes, he will be re-elected unopposed if the elections committee clear him. Now let's talk a little bit about what will be happening this weekend. We'll first of all start with the national team that will be in action, and the Black Queens will be in action tomorrow against Cameroon in the 2016 Olympics football qualifier. The team arrived in Yaoundé yesterday after some weeks of preparation at the Ghana Soccer of Excellence in Prom. The coach of the side has been talking really big ahead of this game and is hoping that they can pick maximum points. Remember that this is the game that will be played in the 3rd qualifying round, first leg tie. If they're able to win this game, they'll be coming up against Ivory Coast or Zimbabwe. Now let's talk about Accra Hearts of Oak as we get into week 22 of the First Capital Plus Premier League. They are without a coach. Stopgap coach Eddie Ansah has been talking about his competence and is looking for the job. Even though we've heard that Tony Loco is going to be named as coach next week, Accra Hearts of Oak have a difficult game against the Adriano Stars. But ahead of that, Eddie Ansah wants the job as the main coach.
I've played football and I've been in coaching. Everyone knows me to be a goalkeeper, but I'm a coach. I'm a CAF licensed coach. I've worked with the national team, the senior national team, under coaches who has come and gone. I've understudied them and I've learned a lot from them. They know my credibility. They know what I can do. So I'm not scared to take it over as a head coach at all.
So should management call upon you to take it permanently? You're ready to do it?
I'm ready, ever ready to do it.
Now let's have a look at what we'll be expecting in terms of fixtures for match day 22 rolling on your screen now. Quite interesting fixtures because it's really clouded right there at the top and also at the bottom. So then, Olympics are up against Bichim United at the Crossport Stadium on Sunday. It's Liberty Professionals up against Medium SC at the Dan Soman Park. It's Kumasi Asante Kotoko They're a bit troubled, but they'll be playing Brecum Chelsea at the Barima Stadium. It's the new Odubiase who will play Wafa, and that will take place at the Lenkley Stadium in Obuasi. Heart Lions at Pando will face Ashanti Gold, who are league leaders, leading the table with 7 points. Adriana Stars up against Heart Salok, and we'll be finding out if they, what they've been talking about. The revival Accra Hasbro begins there in Doma. Hazakes are up against Wild Stars. And BA United up against Inter Allies. That game will be on Saturday at the Accra Sports Stadium. So games to look forward to on match day 22 of the Ghana Premier League. A little bit on the international front, and Arsene Wenger has refused to rule out that £40 million Arsenal move to sign France striker Karim Benzema from Real Madrid, but has denied that the deal is imminent. Arsenal, who continued the pre-season campaign against Everton in the final of the Barclays Asia trophies in Singapore on Saturday, were reported to be close to following their £10 million deal. Now let's hear from Arsene Wenger on the